and welcome to this week's Cats Whiskers TV. Not much of an intro this week because there's no news, so it's straight into this. Slightly different this week. We're going to start with a story that broke last week. Brent Henley, Panthers defenceman, was in the press saying that he felt he was a little bit victimised with some of the refereeing decisions that have gone his way. Now, I know there's differing opinions on the panel as regards to this.
Panel? We're a panel now, aren't we?
Well, I just thought we may as well be. We've got the microphone between us all, so we can have a heated debate, as Mrs. Merton used to say. So,
what were we before then?
Shall we carry on?
Yeah,
so, Brent Henley.
Yeah.
Now, Aaron, I know you have got some sympathy with what he actually said in the press.
Well, case for the defence.
Well, Your Honour, no, the only thing that I really have to say on it is I think a lot of people have read the headline and just ran away with the headline without reading the whole article. My view on it is, if you read the article, he does say that he, has deserved some of the treatment that he's given in bans and being penalties that he's taken because either it was his job and role on the team or through his own stupidities at times. So from that point of view, I do have sympathy with him. And my personal view, and this is just my own opinion, is that I think far too many times the refs have sort of made a call and penalised, made the call for the player, not the actual offence, because he checks somebody against the boards, and 9 times out of 10 he automatically, the arm will go up because a penalty's coming. He's 6'7". If he checks somebody's proper into a board, it's going to look, it could look quite bad. But that doesn't mean that it's an illegal, check, or it's a cross-checking or whatever. I think far too many times he's just been penalised because of the size. Now, on the article itself, people can go, well, you're giving yourself no favours, which you aren't in a way.
No, he's not.
Yeah, but if he wants to say it, then he has it in his own right. It's a free, speech. He can say it. Whether other fans want to roll with it and have a field day with it, that's fine.
Not just other fans, though. I mean, because
I
think fine. Yeah, fine if you feel like that. I've got no problem with him feeling that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say it in the press.
Yeah.
Because it's not as it was years ago. Okay, he's talking to the Nottingham Post, it's for Nottingham fans, that can be the argument. However, in the age of the internet and social media, this is going to go like wildfire, and that's what it did. And I get annoyed when I see the usual any stick to beat the Panthers with. It does annoy me. They're my team. But I think in this case, there's not really a leg to stand on.
Do you then think that he shouldn't say it because it's an embarrassment to the Panthers?
I think that's part of it.
But then really he wouldn't be allowed to, surely, if it embarrassed the club to a point.
No. But then the day after, you get another article which is just embarrassing, and that's what these articles are to me. They're embarrassing. It's like Jono says. Yes, you have these opinions, but just because you've got opinions doesn't mean you have to tell the world them. Doesn't mean you have to give people a chance.
We do.
That's what we're here for.
Well, true.
Yeah, but like any fan, we sit there and we have our opinions and we voice them. There is a difference, as we've said about somebody like, let's say, Dave Sims. There's a difference between fans saying something and somebody who's connected with the club saying something.
That's a fair point.
I just think in both articles, seeing that you brought up the second article, there's you can either class it as positivity or there is honesty. So there's honesty from Henley's point of view in the fact of, like I said earlier, that he appreciates some of the calls that he's been and he deserved some of them. There's positivity in the second article because there was praise for the two refs.
Yeah.
In the first period.
But nothing happened in that period to call.
Well, I know, but it's still it's not a negative. It's not a fully negative article, then, is it? Because there's still positivity in it. I'm obviously in a very minority group with Henley because not even a lot of fans don't really see the point. But I just think for me, reading Twitter, everybody, like you say, it's social media, it's bound to go, there's 9 other teams which will have a field day with it. That's fine by me, I don't really give a monkeys. Love it. You know, fans want to run it, you know, and fans that have just won the league title and a team that haven't won the league in 3 years or whatever, if they really that bothered and want to, you know, really spend all their time moaning about the Panthers and stuff, by all means, you know, if that's really...
But don't give them, they're going to do that anyway. And that's,
Yeah.
and
Well,
I just think we're wasting, at best wasting our time, giving them an extra opportunity.
Oh, yeah, well, that's just...
No, but I mean, so I just don't think he should have done it. I don't think it should have run. That's no slight on Matt Davis, the post
Yeah, I mean, it's a great
reporter,
article, and I suppose
because he's got paid to sell and he's doing his job, and he's doing a very, very good job from what I've seen so far. However, you know, he's going to get the story, and he's going to write it, because that's his job. But I didn't. Me personally, I didn't like the content, or most of the content of both them articles, and as a Panthers fan.
Well,
sorry, but you know.
You think? Let's go back a few months to when Mike O'Connor was spouting off about the leagues run by who sells the shirts. We pretty much condemned him for that, and yet here we are. We can't then say there's nothing wrong with what amounts to somebody from our club doing exactly the same.
Yeah, but if you go back to that Mike O'Connor, that is very to one person. If you read the Henley article, there is not at one point in that article where one person's name is mentioned.
No, you do make a fair point there.
And if we're being positive, that proves that Henley's smarter than Mike O'Connor.
yeah, but that's he's not. He's used a generalisation.
Yeah.
Mike O'Connor, if you know facts and stuff like that, is pointing out one person.
Yeah.
So that's, for me, there's a slight difference there.
And that's what can get you into trouble.
That could get you into trouble if
you're out naming. He's very clever. He doesn't name somebody, and then you've got people who have sat there and worked out who they think it might be and named them. Then they're the ones who could be in trouble.
Exactly. Yeah, which I agree with. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move on seamlessly almost to the game against Braehead, and very early in the first period of the game against Braehead, and there was an incident, shall we say. It's been all over YouTube. We've all seen it. So Brent Henley, who claims victimisation, then, in my view, from the video I've seen, sucker punches Chris Frank and then continues to hit him while he's down on the ice. From the video that's available on YouTube. Now, we've seen earlier this season that similar offences have got 3-game bans. That's a 3-game ban for sucker punching, 3-game ban for excessive roughness. And of course, Henley has also had a ban for sucker punching earlier in the season, so it's not as if he's got form for it.
And excessive roughness.
So, at the time, he's assessed a 5+ game. So, I think this needs pointing out, it wasn't given a match at the time, therefore it will not go to an automatic review.
Right. Yep.
Braehead then have to put in supplemental discipline if they wish for it to be reviewed. I messaged Ryan Finnerty earlier today, asked him the question, did he review it? He said yes, he did, and he was told no further penalty by Murray Hansen. I've also checked this out with league officials as well, just to check the absolute facts before we go on air.
Yeah, very professional these days.
No, you didn't want anybody to sue you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look, you know, I'm not going to come on here with supposition and hearsay. I'm going to check the facts out first.
It used to be in hearsay, didn't it?
That's what we do, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So the facts are, Henley was assessed a 5+ game, it wasn't given a match. Braehead did ask for supplemental discipline, which sort of puts down those people who were saying, oh well, they're both owned by Neil Black, therefore...
Yeah, not for long. They'll be back.
So, yes, they did put in supplemental discipline. That discipline was turned out. Now, I'm a Panthers fan through and through. However,
he's very lucky.
He's very lucky. For me, that should have been banned. I'm sorry, but it should have been a ban. based on things that's gone before. Discuss.
Well, I'll let Paul go first this time.
Yeah, it was once. Yeah, I think you're right, and I think the thing that stands out from the video when you watch it is that if Steve Lee hadn't been stood in the way, it could have been a lot worse. But in all seriousness, you watch Steve Lee, you watch the rest of the players. They look like this. What's he doing? Their body language is, oh God, you know, it's and then he goes off. You know, there's no tap in the ice. There's no thing. They're just leaving him to it.
No, I think it's worth pointing out at this time that was I believe a fan's video. It wasn't Braehead Clan's video. So Murray Hansen would have had access to the official video. I don't think that one would have been.
Which was filmed from behind that fan.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
And don't forget that he would have spoken to the officials.
Yeah, of course he would.
Yeah, as part of the review as well.
And of course, it has to be pointed out again that Tom Darnell at the time only gave a 5+ game.
Well, look, I'm not defending the incident. You know, it's very similar to what he did to Spencer down here. You know, and he got chucked, and he got, I think, 3-game ban for that as well or something. So from that, I'm not defending Henley, but my what I would say is, then really, do you have to ask the question of why wasn't it given a match at the time?
Yeah, I think you do. Yeah.
Then do you have to ask, well, really, you want to ask the question of why it wasn't? You know, why didn't Murray Hansen give it? That's where, look, you can say that Henley is an idiot for doing it or whatever, or have your personal view on what Henley and that incident, but it's gone through every channel that it has gone. Braehead asked for it to review. It has been, and Hansen has decided no. So there's really your argument, in the sense of it should really be with Hansen and.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree.
It's now gone past Henley in the point of, you know, he should be banned. It's gone through every single channel, so the correct procedure has been done.
You can't. Yes, you can't fault the way it's been dealt with.
No, exactly. And he is lucky. Don't get me wrong. You know, he is lucky to get away with it, but.
I think another thing that also needs to be looked at is, and one of the things we praise very much on the show this year is how transparent the disciplinary system has been with Murray Hansen. When there has been bans, it's been listed why, for what reason, and you know it has been pretty transparent. However, in this case, there's obviously nothing come out about why they've decided not to ban Henley. I think probably because there's going to be a lot of irate Braehead fans, and understandably so from that footage. You know, surely they deserve a bit of an explanation as to why.
But where do you stop with that?
Well,
do you then have to release a press statement for Fife's goal that was disallowed last night?
No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, if supplemental discipline is put in, then I think it's only right that if it's turned down, they say supplemental discipline was been put in by X club and it's been turned down because of these reasons. I think that's fair enough.
Yeah, but what can be the reasons apart from he doesn't think it warrants any? What's he going to say? That, you know, it was not Team Panthers. It was against Braehead.
No. Just say, look, I didn't think it warranted a 5+ game because of these reasons.
But couldn't that also undermine the referee that's given, you know, the original?
Absolutely, but you think
you don't want to be doing that. But having said that, forever giving out supplemental bans to everybody who asks undermines the referees as well.
Yeah, and I think this is a massive flaw in the system which we've gone over before and we won't go into here because we'll be here all night.
We probably will be anyway.
However, I just think remember that the referees, they only have a split second to look at an incident.
Yeah. That's not a split second incident. That's over a 10,
it's
20
not.
second
I'm talking generally. I'll move on to this when we talk about the Fife game. But you know, I just think, you know, I think we've been incredibly lucky. I think you're right. The right channels have been gone through. Ryan Finity or Braehead Clan have put in supplemental discipline. It's been turned down by Murray Hansen. Fine. The channels have been gone through correctly. However, I just think for a bit more clarity and a bit more transparency, there maybe ought to be an explanation as to why it's not been upgraded. Especially when there's a video on social media that shows what it shows. And other incidents previously in the season have been given bans for those.
From what unless I've not been to the Braehead Arena, so I don't know. But you're not allowed to film in NIC, so what's that fan video meant to be there anyway?
Well,
are you saying that it needs to be?
We'll go into that later as well.
Are you saying that it needs to a explanation because it's Henley after the article that is done and the severity of the incident?
No, I'm not saying that.
If it was then I don't know, high sticking or check to the head, and they didn't give it extra bans or whatever, and it was Lakovic that did it.
Yeah, I still think there should be some transparency. I think if supplemental discipline is put in and it's not upgraded, just like if it's put in and it is upgraded, there's an explanation. I think if it isn't, there ought to be an explanation. I'm not talking about the 5 disallowed goal, which we'll come on to in a bit, but I think for supplemental discipline, yes, there should be an explanation.
Well, looking at that system, maybe it's the first time that it's been rolled out this year, isn't it? So it's the first time, and I'm sure they've learned from it, and you don't know what's going to be in place, whether it will even be in place next season. You don't know, do you? There's a few obviously issues that people have with it, but the fact remains, it went through the correct channels, and Murray Hanson decided not to give it any extra, and that's where really
the book stops with him. Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with that entirely.
I really don't think you'll find a Panthers fan really going, well, that's 5+ game is really what it warranted, but it's just crying over poor spilt milk or whatever, you can't. And I'm sure pretty much if we play Braehead in the playoffs, Henley might, get a few hits. Maybe, Frank might actually, deal something. But I'm sure he'll get sorted on the ice.
Brisbane discussed he's 6'7", so I think he's big enough to take care of himself.
I'm sure he is. But moving on to the game itself, I mean, obviously,
cracking game.
An 8-2 defeat. That wasn't what I was saying Saturday night. But that's a huge defeat. It's a thrashing. Let's be honest. And it's. I think that was endemic of our form recently.
It's not what really I would want. With the possibility of having to play them in the playoffs,
it's not sending a good message.
They're really going to be tails up.
We're just lulling them into a false sense of security. That's all.
Is that positivity from you there, is it?
No, that's old chess.
Sarcasm.
I mean, I think, the first period said it all, didn't it? Because, Green went in.
4-0 down, 4-1 down at the end of the
Green
first.
played 2.
And I think we shouldn't take anything away from Braehead, because they are a very good side, well coached side. With a very good netminder, from what I've seen in Kyle Jones. I think he is a very good netminder, and they are going to get wins like that because they've got the firepower and they've got the personnel within their team to damage us like that. And I mean, they did it earlier in the season in the Challenge Cup, which was I suppose a bit of a dead rubber because we were 8-0 up from the first leg, but they still gave us a bit of a tonking in that second leg.
That's twice. Yeah, that's twice now, and these things really don't help. I mean, I do wonder the way we've played so many games, partly through necessity, at sort of almost half speed. I mean, the game against Cardiff, Tuesday night was, it was easy to follow, put it that way. But we've got to win. But now we've got to step up. Come into this. If you've been playing like that, you get used to it and it makes it harder.
Well, let's move on to yesterday's game.
Let's not talk about Saturday's game.
Move on to yesterday's game against Fife Flyers. Another controversial incident in the first period. After Panthers take the lead, Fife think they've scored. It's disallowed straight away for being kicked into the net. Now, from my position, where I was stood right next to the goal judge, I thought, absolutely, it was.
Why was you stood?
Don't ask him.
I was doing some work for television. Now, so I was stood by the goal judge.
On the test card.
Yeah, well, it pays the mortgage. Now, there was a definite kicking motion by Roll, I think it was, and I watched the puck goes into the net. So I was a clear kick. It should be disallowed.
Yeah.
However, what I couldn't see was that actually the puck got stuck under K-Wall's pads and was poked into the net by Haynes. So it should, from that point of view, it should have stood. However, Mike Hicks's position behind the goal, and remember he only has a split second to look at this, was in a pretty similar position to mine. He waved it off straight away, so he probably saw the kick, the puck go in. He probably didn't see the poke from Haynes' stick, and he called it off straight away. Now, that's rough on Fife, and let's face it, they've had some rough luck with goals against us in the past. But in a way, I can't really criticise the ref too much, because he's got that to make a decision. There's no review system. If there's a review system, the goal gets given.
Right or wrong decision, he made it, and he made it very clear of what his decision was. And there was no hesitation. I mean, from where I was sat, I didn't have a clue whether it was kicked in or poked in. To be honest, I couldn't tell. I even text you, and you like you
I
said,
say clear kick.
Yeah. But all you can ask for in that situation is that the ref is 100% confident in their decision, right or wrong. And
Not like happened again against Fife and the last season, where there was that. Was it given? Was it not?
Yeah,
was it given?
I mean that was a farce. That was a complete farce.
Yeah.
I mean, what I would say, it is a changing point in the game if it does go, if it's given, and it would have certainly gave Fife more momentum, because, let's be honest, they came down here and they played
They were excellent.
They played a very good hockey game, and we were, we weren't at our best for two periods.
Well,
really.
for 2 periods they were the better side, and I thought in the second period they were superb. I thought they were brilliant, and the thing is, they were coming into that game on a massive streak of form. They played really, really well.
You could tell that as well.
Yeah, I mean they dropped 3 points in 11 games before yesterday, and that's stunning form. I think only Belfast better that or equal it. So they're really got championship form at the minute. If you're looking at it like that, I thought they were very good. Their transition play was excellent. They got a lot of 2-on-1 breaks, but I think one criticism I can probably have of their forwards is they didn't look up enough to see that free man. And I think if they had done, we would have been punished a lot
Thanks,
more.
Sydney.
The Jono Bullard of coaching.
That's why you were wearing a suit last night. You think you're the new Don Cherry, don't you? We've still turned up with a bulldog under his arm next week.
The positive aspect that you can take out of it is, they properly outplayed us 2-1 period-wise, but we managed. And I think you can even maybe say this goes back to what Paul was saying about sort of playing at a certain level, and then for whether it'll be 5, 10, 15 or 20 or 1 period, we flick a switch and we do go up that gear. What I would say,
and that's what happened.
Yeah, it was what happened, but there were some good goals there.
I tell you what, third period, I watched the goals back again last night when I got home, and they were some superb goals. Salters was a bullet. Francis's wrist shot from feet from Clark was a beautiful goal.
Yeah.
And we played brilliant in the third period, and that's the best I've seen us play for weeks.
Could you tell? Does Lacko steal that goal off Farmer for the empty net? Because it looked from where I was sat, it looked like it was going in anyway.
I think it was going in anyway, but look, Lacko's a forward. He's not going to take that chance.
Switch it around. Would Farmer have done it?
And Lacko had done the work to get the puck to where it was.
Absolutely.
So that he could then nick the goal off Farmer.
But great third period, and we pretty much blew Fife away in the third, and. The difference it made as well when the players were coming through after the game, you could see there was a spring in the set. They looked happy. They looked far more confident. I had a quick word with David Clark, and he was buzzing, and he's even had a quick word with Jonathan Boxhill, and even though he wasn't playing, he was saying like that's what we need. That's the sort of momentum we need to carry on into the next game. So that bodes well.
What you have to realise is, from a Nottingham Panthers point of view, we have not had a great season. Right, we've not performed well in games. We've not played well, whether we've won or whether we've lost. The performances haven't been great in some of the games. Players have logged a lot of minutes. You know, there's been injuries. It's been one of those seasons that mentally it's going to absolutely drain you, because you just, you know, you're hitting a brick wall sort of all the time and you just can't get going. So the relief of one win against, you know, Fife at home is a big deal for some of those players.
Well, especially the form they were in, the form they came into that game with. That's a huge win.
And I think people can't underestimate how, you know, down a hockey player can be. You know, speaking to Weaves, he's been down, you know, the last couple of weekends, and you know, Tuesday night was important, getting the win against Cardiff and scoring the goal. You know, like I say, you can't underestimate how much, you know, we're suffering as fans. We don't think, you know, and I think necessarily players are just, you know, going through the motions sometimes, but they're really not. They feel everything, and you know, the only hope is that you can carry that momentum, like Boxall says, into the next game.
Yeah. Sorry? No, okay. Well,
can if you want.
Well, of course, some of the other games. Cracking result for Hull on Saturday, 5-1 against the Sheffield Steelers, who been playing well under Gerard Adams.
The newly resurgent world-beating Sheffield Steelers.
No, not on Saturday night, if they were.
The absolute rubbish Sheffield Steelers. Same here for Sunday.
Yeah, well, apparently some of them were saying that, we're lucky.
To get one.
Honestly, but no, I think that's a cracking performance by the Stingrays, and of course helps their playoff cause as well. Of course, Steelers did come back on Sunday night with a win against Belfast of all people, their first defeat in 16 games, and Scott Antcliffe was there.
Back from the Steelers game, resulting in a 5-4 penalty shootout win for the Steelers against the Belfast Giants. So, not a result I was expecting, particularly after the previous night's performance against Hull, losing 5-1. Very disappointing loss against Hull, so going into the game against Belfast, obviously, you know, I wasn't expecting the result that we came away with. So, 5-4 win, which meant that was Belfast's first loss in 16 games and only their 8th loss this season. So, you know, that's a great record for the Giants, and you can see why they are the deserved Elite League champions. So the game itself, pretty even first period, to be fair. Giants went ahead first through Colin Shields. Pretty good goal. He cut in from the left side in the corner. Nice move in front, put it 5-hole through Doyle. Steelers replied and scored a goal just over a minute later. Rob Dowd, after an amazing play from Stephen Meyer, using his size and strength to outmuscle the Giants D-men behind the net. Meyer put it on a plate for Dowd, who was in the slot, and he backhanded it high past Murphy. Really good goal, particularly great play from Stephen Meyer on that goal. Then the Giants, they restored the lead. Rob Sandrock, everyone were expecting a trademark slap shot, but he faked the slap shot, went for a wrister, and he beat Frank Doyle. A good screen in front as well by Chris Higgins. So yeah, 2-1 lead for the Giants going into the first period intermission. Second period, terrible period from the Steelers. Just 41 seconds into the period, Rob Dowd gifted the Giants a chance. A turnover in the Steelers zone. Dowd put a pass through the middle of the zone straight to Shields, who just pounced on a loose puck, slap-shotted it high past Doyle. Then that kind of set the tone. It was a poor second period from the Steelers. You know, passes were going astray. There was no intensity, no check-in, you know, a poor forecheck. And the Giants just capitalised. They grabbed another goal through Kevin Surrett after that to make it 4-1. Really good goal from Surrett. He broke down the right wing, slap-shot it high past Doyle. Really good goal. Then Steelers managed to pull one back in the second period on the power play. Drew Fatter, really good goal, nice slap shot, high past Murphy. Then going into the third period, you know, Gerard Adams must have gave him a bit of a sort of a rollicking in that second period intermission, because we come out, we looked a different team. Jeff Legui, a couple of unanswered goals in that third period. One, a nice redirect from a Max Lacroix shot, and then the second one in the 44th minute. He was just on hand to tap home a rebound after another Lacroix shot, which fell nicely to him. So going into OT, we dominated that, but couldn't find a way past it. Drew Fatter took a late penalty in overtime to ensure a nervy finish. And then going into penalty shots, Dustin Whitecon stepped up first. He missed that shot, fired it straight into the chest of Doyle. Then Chris Blight stepped up next. Great goal from Blight. Nice backhand high finish after a great deke. Then Craig Peacock stepped up. Another shot saved by Doyle. Max Lacroix stepped up. Saved by Murphy, a low leg pad save. And then Rob Sandrock with the unenviable task of the ultimate penalty shot, and that one was saved once again by Doyle. So overall, really good win for the Steelers, but they lost the previous night against Hull. So hopefully that'll give us some confidence, the win over the Giants, going into the rest of the Elite League fixtures and into the playoffs. So overall, pretty good game, particularly third period.
Scott there with the news of Sheffield beating Belfast on penalties. Does that mean they're in contention for the playoffs?
I'd hand it on now, to be honest. I think
give them the trophy.
Give it the ball. Talking of trophies, I think we ought to offer congratulations to the Dundee Stars, winners of the Gardiner Conference, and I think a just reward for a superb season that they've had.
It would have been very harsh on them, I think, after the start that they did have, if they would have fell away at the end. But the table doesn't lie.
They have been very consistent, and they've stayed there, I think, against everyone's expectations, including ours, from what we were saying at the start of the season. But fair play to them. They've got Hutchins has got a very, very good team there, and having Doug behind the bench now, I think that's probably solidifies them even more.
Well, I mean, it makes it easier as well, doesn't it, regarding the playoff seedings and system, basically.
I mean, the big question now is, will Braehead give them the trophy, or will they have to go out and buy their own?
Well, there was a trophy. There was a trophy there.
Yeah, is it the same one?
I couldn't tell you. I could not tell you, if I'm honest. So tweet in, let us know. So we're going to have a look at some hot topics now. Thanks once again for sending them in, and we've got one here from Paul Baum, actually. Fan interaction. Why does it feel that Panthers are so far behind other teams such as Belfast and Sheffield? Explain yourself.
I don't know. It's something I was thinking about, talking to somebody the other day who's got, doesn't normally come to Panthers games, and getting their sort of external input.
Yeah.
I just think that basically all the club are bothered about, I'm probably going to get us into trouble now, but it's nearly
into trouble.
It's nearly the summer. I just think basically as soon as they got us in, they got the money off us, they're not bothered. That's it. And I'm not talking about the music. I've had my say on that, and thanks for not playing No Billy Rock. But I just think you go to somewhere like, let's say, Belfast, who, I mean, I'm never going to be their target market. I'm nearly 45 years old. I don't like having my food thrown at me. I like it on a plate in front of me. I'm traditional like that. But there's all those things to get people involved with the experience. Right, and it's not necessarily the experience sort of I want from a game, but I'm a 44-year-old man, and I just want to sit there and moan, or stand here and moan, But there just seems there's just nothing. Right, they've got the seat draw where half the people get a Rubik's cube, and fair enough. That I'm not knocking that. I'm just thinking that because we're a big team, big arena team, we've got a big crowd. You see that constant flow of people coming for the first time. Wouldn't things like that encourage them to stay? Giving them the whole match night experience rather than just a game.
Yeah, the other thing though is one man's match night experience is another man's non-match night experience, I suppose. But
I think I did say that. I think Belfast at times do slightly overdo it, but it's also not just
it's a lot of different things. Yeah,
you look at all. I mean, I understand this is a business. That teams are a business, but it just seems like, look at Belfast. After one of the games, Todd Kelman goes into the bar with the trophy, puts it down on the bar and says, "That's yours. Do what you want with it, but respect it." That's fine. What do we get? So 5 to have your picture taken with it and don't touch it.
Yeah.
And then it's never seen again. Surely we're as much a part of it. We're more than just an open wallet, aren't we?
Actually, I mean,
I'll shut up now.
Well, Paddy Smith from A View from the Bridge, he emailed us saying thought it was a great question that you posed, by the way, and also
it's going to be unsufferable now.
and also sort of said some of the things that Belfast do, and he mentioned also about the trophy and how Todd Kelman went into the bar and said
I know, that's where I read it.
And also how Todd Kelman is in the bar before games answering questions directly and dispelling rumours, which I think is a great idea. That's not. I think we have to say though that not every club does it. I mean, I think what they do is absolutely above and beyond, and I think it's fantastic to engage the crowd that they get.
Not every club does it, but we should be looking at what other clubs do. And I understand that what we can do is different to what smaller clubs can do, because they're going to have smaller fans. Like, with a smaller club like Sheffield, they had a fan forum where there's about 120 people there.
Yeah.
How many would we have got? That I understand that's a difficulty, but a lot of the time they don't feel like my club. They just feel like something I pay to go and see.
I've got.
You're keeping very quiet, It's just letting me hang myself here, are you?
Well, I've got a slightly different point of view. At the end of the day, I want to go and I want to go watch a game of hockey. I don't care much around the razzmatazz and the music. I'm just there to watch a game of hockey. Fine.
And that's what I said as well.
Yeah. If other people want something different, fine. Me, I'm quite happy going. Just watch a game of hockey. I realise I'm probably not the target customer anymore.
Well, I just said all this.
Well, you have, but
it isn't just the match night experience, though. It's all the other events that most of you have to pay to go to.
Who's the target audience, and if?
I suppose the target audience is going to be people who's never been before. It's getting new people through the door, I think. While ever there's empty seats in the arena, and there's still a few. It's going to be new people who've never been, come for that hockey experience. And I suppose you've got the argument then they don't know any better anyway.
And I'll tell you something I don't like.
Go on.
If I'm gonna
hang yourself.
If I'm gonna get kicked off this show, I might as well go out with the bang. Every week they welcome people who's its first game. They never welcome people like us who've been to 500 or however many games it is.
Take a while though, there's a lot.
It's one sentence.
Well, did you say thank you for your continued support? I mean, that's enough.
When did they welcome people for the first time? When's that?
Well,
I've heard that. I have heard that at Sheffield. Anyway, I think we should move on quickly.
Maybe we can say you haven't been honest.
Let's move on to something completely. Let's say something completely different.
If you disagree with me, let us know. You're wrong, but let us know anyway. Pat Smith agrees with me.
Yeah. Dave Gunn. In the summer, will there be an exodus from South Wales to South Yorkshire, thus prompting a merry-go-round?
The weather is terrible in South Wales most of the time, isn't it? So
it does rain a lot, apparently. But then again, is that a reason for me going to South Yorkshire? I'd happily get wet, frankly.
I think it all depends on one thing, doesn't it? That tweet from Mr. Gunn there is assuming that Mr. Adams is Sheffield coach next season, and I think
that's the key.
That's the key, and I think Tony Smith has got the secret.
And who knew he was
in a little gold envelope?
Who knew he was in the Urban Cookie Collective? That's one for you old ones.
No, to be fair,
we were all ignoring that one.
To be fair, Adams has had a good, he's
had a good start.
And I think that's what Tony Smith, and most Steelers fans would have wanted. I think for me, like even when Doug got appointed at Sheffield, a lot of people were saying that they expected, some of the players from Belfast to follow it.
I think only Langley went.
I think you automatically think that every player likes to play for that coach, and they're automatically going to follow him. And I think, like we said, it hinges on whether Adams is there, but
it also hinges on whether Adams wants them.
True.
Well, exactly. You might have a bigger budget there at Sheffield, and
I think we'll probably be able to answer that one a bit more clearly towards the end of the season.
Shut up, everybody. We'll move on.
I didn't say that at all, but speculation at this point. Andrew Birrell, Colorado Flyer. He says, "Do you guys feel Fife will now make it to the playoffs?" He seems to think they've got to beat Hull and then take at least 6 points from the final 8 on offer. I'm not so sure. I think them 2 games in hand will help them. And from what I saw yesterday of them, I think it would be a shame if they don't make it, because I think they deserve. They're a very good side.
I said they would weeks ago.
You did actually, yes. And I think I did.
I can't remember if I did or not.
You both said that Cardiff would be there and 5.
Yeah, but I wanted 5 too.
You said you wanted to, but
I did say 5 would. I will point out.
I'll put my non-existent future career on this show on the line and say they will. They are.
I think they will, because I think from what I saw yesterday, they're good enough too. And I think if you compare the two teams, if you look at Cardiff, who came on Tuesday, and you look at Fife yesterday, Fife showed far more invention and were much better going forward. Okay, it's a small base, but that's actually what I thought.
I think the win that Cardiff got at the weekend against
that was massive,
massive and very important win, because they've sort of been stuttering, haven't they, along for a few weeks now, whereas Fife, like we mentioned earlier, have had all the momentum. And look, they would just be thinking that yesterday that we performed well. At the end of the day, Panthers just turned it on for a few minutes, like we said. I don't think that's got to stop them in their longer goal and longer vision of picking points up, as that tweet mentions, against some of the teams. And the games in hand is where you're going to see whether they're going to make it or not, really, for me.
Okay. Just one I want to throw in, actually. Of course, there was you went on the cage. Of course, great thread on there about should Corey be given his marching orders. Happy to say that every reply underneath was just mainly a one-word answer: no.
I said yes.
And then you said no.
Yeah, and then I realised I'd misread the question.
Seriously, if that is how the cage is, I'm not going to...
Well, that is how the cage is. Yeah. That's actually quite good, if we're honest.
To be fair, I couldn't... I just thought, and how ironic that the thread was started on the day that Corey becomes the most successful coach in Panthers history.
He weren't up against much, though, was he?
I don't know. Dampier, Blaisdell.
I'm joking.
For me, the only thing you could... It's not been the best seasons, and if you look at the results and stuff like that, and like we said, I think we touched on this when Doug, parted company and stuff. We weren't, Sheffield have been better off than us at certain points during the season, and if we had the same vision, not the same vision, sorry, that's wrong, but the same mentality as the Steelers, then you would say that, maybe Corey should have gone at that point. But to realistically, if anybody actually thinks that, then it's quite worrying. Really. I looked at that expecting just a bit of banter and to try and, but
it's very short.
Believe it, really.
Yeah. I mean, forgive me.
What is it? 7 out of 9 trophies in the last.
Up to the end of 7 out of 9 trophies. Still got a chance of 2 trophies this season. Come on, please. And quite frankly, I think after last season, it's been a bad season. He deserves a chance to put it right next season. So,
I think maybe the pressure comes next season, doesn't it? Really, after the season that we've had this season, it's go out there and get a team that can, and obviously get no broken mirrors over the summer, please.
Well, final one from Mark, who is Fife Flyers fan. Will Fife ever win in the NIC when there are officials on the ice?
Yeah. They've just got to score more goals than we do.
And I think we'll leave it there. So Aaron and myself are now going to look ahead to a couple of the games coming up over the weekend. Unfortunately, Paul has left us to go on gardening leave to possibly take a babe behind the camera.
I think it was the right decision.
I think so. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Wednesday night, Panthers in Belfast.
Yeah.
So that. I would say that's quite a big game because with the next game being the Challenge Cup, I think we have to go there and put a marker down.
Yeah, well, I do agree. I think this game is like you said, gearing up to the Friday game in the double weekend in Belfast, which I will be going to, but you're not.
I'm not. No, I won't be there. It is my stag weekend.
Thanks for the invite. But as I say, I think it is going to, it's a game that Panthers have to go in and really send a message to Belfast as in, we're serious about the Challenge Cup, and I think it's important that we put in the performance. Result-wise, I think it's, for me it would be more about the performance than actually the result. We've got to give Belfast something to think about.
Yeah, I agree.
Going in Friday, I think, obviously we don't want injuries, we don't want suspensions, and there've been quite close games in the Odyssey with Belfast this season, so I expect it to be like that as the same actually.
Okay. Sunday, of course, trip to the Sky Dome. So final visit to the Sky Dome this season. Take on the Coventry Blaze.
Yeah.
I think I might pop down to that one because I've not been to the Sky to see the game at Sky Dome all season. I've said Sky Dome a lot there, I realise. I think I'm going to travel down to that one.
So the Sky Dome?
Yeah.
I've not been to Coventry's home
Sky Dome.
This season. I don't know actually. It's a tough one because I think we've just we haven't got a game on the Saturday, but I think we're going to put a lot in on the Wednesday, and I know there's a bit of time in between them, but Coventry's a difficult place to go to,
and Coventry haven't got a game Saturday either.
No, Coventry since they've had Lifford in there has changed a little bit, and I think they're a different team under them than they were
He did almost apologise to the fans for the performance in Cardiff yesterday, basically saying, I'm sorry for those who travelled down.
They needed 2 points to secure playoff,
and they didn't get them.
They were nowhere near really, but I don't know. It's a tough one, and.
Well, they're going to be fighting for their lives because they still need them 2 points to secure a playoff position. So, I think it'd be an interesting game actually.
Yeah, I mean,
they don't like each other, so.
No, there's always been a bit of niggly there, isn't it? But that's another thing as well. That's our last league game. No, it's not. Sorry. It's a Saturday night in Belfast. Sorry. Yeah.
So it's our penultimate league game.
Yeah.
So. And I think it's the chance where
it really makes much difference. Sadly, I think everything now at the moment is geared up to the Challenge Cup and the playoff quarter-finals for me. And one thing you would say is momentum. That's what it's going to give you. If we get a decent result against Belfast on the Wednesday, we can get another decent result against Coventry. We are starting to, pick up a little bit of pace. But again, I'm going to say you just don't want injuries and you don't want suspensions. And in a niggly game that they've been like, against Coventry, people have got to keep calm heads and still do their job if it's needed. Don't get me wrong, nobody should be getting away with anything scot-free, but keep it in the laws of the game, shall we say.
Absolutely, just to pick out another couple of the games, I think Fife's got a tough weekend, but this is what they're going to have to face if they are to get that playoff position.
Exactly.
Home to Belfast on Saturday night, and of course they took a point off Belfast a couple of weeks ago when they was there, so they're going to go into that with a bit of confidence, and then away at Dundee on Sunday night. So it's a tough weekend for Fife, especially as they face Hull in a massive game on Wednesday as well. It's a make or break week for them.
You know, I mean, you could maybe say the Dundee game. You know, Dundee's put a lot of effort in to secure the conference title. They've got that. They know they're in the playoffs. It's will they step their foot off the gas? And I would say no personally, but maybe from 5 points of view you might be thinking that. I mean, look, Fife, they probably would have bitten your hand off if you gave them this to be in this position, you know, 4 or 5 weeks ago, with these games still within a shout of getting the playoffs. Look, if you're going to do it, they've given themselves the best opportunity to do it, and yeah, unfortunately you're going to have to beat the likes of Belfast, or at least pick up points. You know, they'll be looking and saying, if we get a point here, or we can take it to OT or even penalties, then it's a great opportunity to get the extra one.
One of the other contenders, Hull with a game on Saturday away at Dundee, and then away at Sheffield on Sunday, so that's difficult for them. For Cardiff, they're away at Braehead on Saturday and then home to Edinburgh on Sunday. So quite tough games for all of them fighting for those playoff spots, as it should be.
Well, exactly, and it's great to see. Look, you know, Belfast won the league, you know, many weeks ago, and if it wasn't for this playoff challenge that's still going on, the league would be, you know, quite poor and not very interesting at the moment. So it's nice to still have that fight down there, and it's good to see some of the teams, you know, like Fife, still within a shout of getting within the playoffs. But it shows you that even Dundee's going to play a pivotal part in who maybe gets that last playoff spot,
absolutely,
over the next week or so. So, you know, there's still a lot to play for, and it'll be interesting to see who gets them.
Okay, well, we shall leave it there for this week.